Hey fam, I'm Holly. Welcome back to my channel, Lipediva. I am super pumped to be coming to you today to tell you that I have great news. I just heard back from my insurance company that I am approved for surgery. And this is actually the second time that I've heard approved from this insurance company. And I won't say which one it is, but starts with an A, ends with an A. The first time that I got my approval, it was for a doctor that's in the Delaware area. And it was for legs, arms, and they had submitted for torso, but insurance came back and said actually no to the torso, approved the other areas. And I was like, okay, well, great, let's do it. But then I had a few data points that I had to compare and contrast in my own mind, and I eventually decided I was going to go with a different surgeon, right? So when I finally found the next surgeon, the one that I thought was going to be my holy grail, like I totally had like a pro crush on her, right? Like a promance with her, because she was just such a professional and had such great bedside manner, just a really, really great person. And when they submitted the packet, they submitted their own paperwork, and it turns out it was disapproved. When I looked at the denial, I saw that the codes that they had submitted for looked nothing like the codes that I had submitted for in the previous packet. So I was confused. They had submitted for something like skin excision, which we hadn't even really discussed. So I figured it was just probably like an administrative error. And before we could even like resubmit the packet or do a peer-to-peer, the doctor stopped doing these kinds of surgeries. We had a really frank conversation. I talked about it in another video, and I was happy with the reasoning. I totally understand why she would have made that decision. Fortunately, when I first was told that she wasn't going to move forward with it, it was by her coordinator. So I took that opportunity to go to another doctor that I know in the area who's a plastic surgeon. I didn't expect her to have like significant experience in this particular area, but I did trust her implicitly because I've had her as a surgeon, and so has my friend. So I thought, you know what, let me like go like talk with her. And my best friend was like, did you check to see if she takes insurance? Because I automatically assumed as a plastic surgeon she wouldn't. Turns out she is in network with my insurance company, and so hope beyond hope. I think it's because she does reconstructive surgery for breast cancer patients, right? So I scheduled the consult with her. She definitely agreed that I had lipedema. It turns out she does know quite a lot about it, and she knew my previous surgeon. So they apparently had a residency together, and I felt like all of those were great data points. I mentioned to her that I'd had an approval before when she asked if I wanted to go through insurance, and so she told me, why don't you share that with my coordinator, which I did. Slightly different from the previous surgeon where they just kind of submitted their own. And 2 weeks later, approved. I am so excited. And here's a kind of odd thing. I was a little worried about the approval because the first time that I submitted, I was 100 pounds heavier. I was really early in my Wegovy journey. I think maybe I was only 70 pounds heavier. For those of you who've been following, you know that I've lost about 100 pounds total on Wegovy. And at that point, when I submitted, I'd lost maybe about 30 pounds, maybe 20. So I was worried that having lost so much more weight, that they might say, you know what, you don't really need it, right? Because they had said that about my abdomen, and I kind of thought, well, maybe it's because my abdomen looked smaller by comparison. Surprise, they approved me for my trunk as well this time. And I think maybe it's because I've lost so much weight that in the areas where I've lost as much fat as like natural, normal, healthy fat as I can, and you can like see my bones, they can tell in the other areas where I have the lipedema, it stands out even more. So that was kind of a surprise, but happy, welcome surprise. I'm excited about it. Obviously not excited for surgery necessarily, but really excited to get relief from all of the symptoms, to stop the progression of the disease. That's a huge one on my list. So when am I going to have my surgery? End of this month. Not wasting any time on this one. They called, the hospital had availability, and it has to be in a hospital because I'm going to be doing general anesthesia, just because it's probably going to be about a 4-hour procedure. That's what we're understanding about now. So at the end of this month, and it's the 7th right now, I'm scheduled to be walking into the hospital to have my procedure done. I haven't even had the pre-op appointment with her yet to know how many procedures she thinks we're going to have to do, or if she thinks she could get it all done at once. I'm terrified to even hope, but I do have a reason to want that, right? In addition to not wanting to go under as many times, you want to limit that as much as possible, right? I also know now that I have to stop my Wegovy before I go into surgery. So I thought about this before. I didn't know exactly how long it was going to be. The doctor just confirmed it's going to be 2 weeks. So that's not 2 weeks completely of it out of my system, but it is 2 weeks from the last injection date. And you might wonder why. Well, it's because Wegovy apparently slows the emptying of the stomach's contents. Like, that's the specific aspect of what Wegovy does, that we know about, right? That is problematic for surgery because there's a chance that you could aspirate food, which isn't good when you're unconscious, right, and have a breathing tube. So there's, again, I think an increased chance of pneumonia, things like that, if you don't stop Wegovy in advance of the surgery. So out of an abundance of caution, that's what I'll be doing. And I've already spoken with my bariatric doctor to make sure he's tracking it, and also to see, like, what am I going to need on the other side of this. I don't want to have to restart, like to go back to a previous dose, and I don't think I'm going to have to. I hope that, well, I've seen other people who are trying to kind of stretch the amount, how long their Wegovy lasts them, for a number of reasons. Some do it because it's expensive and they're paying out of pocket, and others do it because the results are so good, the medication is actually so effective that they want to have more of those days where they have more of an appetite, just to make sure that they're maintaining enough calories. So the best that I've seen folks say that they can go, the longest they can go without having sort of increased nausea or other like ill effects, is about 10 days. That's what I've heard. Other people have said, like, right after that, then things start to get a little dramatic. So I'm hoping that everything is going to be fine. It's 14 days, but it's not going to be, it's 14 days like in a very measured and precise way. And I'm hoping like the day that I finish my surgery, maybe the morning after, I can go ahead and inject, and hopefully it won't be problematic. Either way, I know my bariatric surgeon, if you want to know who he is, like, just drop me a note, is going to be monitoring, and he's going to have a plan for me. So fingers crossed for all the things. I'm definitely going to do a before and after. I'll take a great shot of my legs and make sure that I get them in all of their glory right now, because I am thankful for them. Even though I know that they're going to be even better after this, I am thankful for how far they've gotten me in this life. It's been a long time. And hopefully, if everything goes well, because the timing is right, I might be able to be on a beach for my 52nd birthday out of compression. So I'm super hopeful. So if you want to see my before, during, after, the whole progression with my surgery, find out about my manual lymphatic drainage specialist that I'm going to be using, or know about my doctors or my insurance packet, like how I submitted it, drop a note in the comments. I'm trying to think about ways to kind of like share that at scale. And I am a member of a few different groups, so that might be helpful to do there. But like on Facebook. So I'm just excited. So I hope you're excited for me, and I want to thank you for watching, because I learned so much from the folks who submit comments. It's been really helpful. I appreciate the guidance, and I hope I've been helpful too. So like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. Fingers crossed. Thanks. Bye.